Okay, so picture this, a huge, high-stakes peace summit. You've got two neighboring countries, right? They believe in the exact same thing, but they make totally opposite moves. One shows up, ready to engage. The other stays home on principle. We're going to unpack this whole game of diplomatic musical chairs and what it really tells us about the crazy pressures nations are facing today. So the scene is this crucial peace summit for Gaza over in Egypt. The room is packed with world leaders, all trying to figure out a way forward. But here's the thing. For Southeast Asia, the real drama isn't just who's in the room, it's who's missing. You've got Indonesia right there, front and center. But its neighbor, Malaysia, conspicuously absent. So why? Why did these two really close allies take such wildly different approaches? That's the puzzle we're digging into.
All right, let's kick things off with the mystery of that empty chair. We're opening up our first case file, Malaysia. And just to be clear, this wasn't some scheduling mix-up or a simple diplomatic snub. Nope, this was a very deliberate choice.
And the reason why? Well, it came straight from the top. Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim laid it out pretty clearly. Malaysia's absence wasn't some mistake. They basically weren't invited, because the summit required everyone to give unconditional, full-throated support to a U.S.-led plan. And for Malaysia, that was a bridge too far. They had conditions that were just non-negotiable.
And here they are. These aren't just, talking points for Malaysia. They are the absolute pillars of their foreign policy, totally non-negotiable. So any peace plan that didn't hit these core issues head-on, it was a complete non-starter for them. This was their line in the sand, plain and simple.
This whole move, this principled stand, it's a textbook example of a strategy that political scientists call domestic-driven hedging. Now, I know that sounds super academic, but the idea is actually pretty simple. It's when foreign policy decisions are made less for the people at the negotiating table and more for the audience back home.
And that is exactly what was going on here. For Prime Minister Anwar, showing that he's got this unwavering, rock-solid support for the Palestinian cause, that's politically crucial. It shores up his leadership, reinforces his base against rivals who would pounce on any hint of weakness. So in this case, the politics at home were completely driving the diplomacy abroad.
Okay, so while Malaysia is playing this defensive game for its home crowd, Indonesia is making a totally different play. Let's open up our second case file and take a look at why Indonesia decided to show up and be right in the middle of it all.
And this just lays it out so perfectly, the two strategies side by side. You've got Malaysia playing defense, right? Using a principal absence to lock down its domestic standing. At the same time, Indonesia is going on offense, using its presence at the summit to try and boost its influence on the world stage. It's the same core issue, but two completely different playbooks.
So Indonesia's playbook, it's called pragmatic activism. And the idea here is instead of staying away, you grab a chair and pull it right up to the table. The whole goal is to get yourself in the room where the decisions are actually being made, to engage directly and to try and shape the outcome from the inside, even if you don't love every single part of the process.
Yeah, so by showing up, President Prabowo Subianto wasn't just there for Indonesia. He was basically auditioning for a much bigger role on the world stage. The ambition here is to become this voice of moderation, a country that can talk credibly to both the Islamic world and to Western powers and act as that crucial diplomatic bridge between them.
And this wasn't just empty talk, not at all. Indonesia put its money where its mouth is, so to speak. They came with this massive offer, a commitment of up to 20,000 peacekeepers for Gaza. Now that is a powerful signal. It screams, hey, we're not just here to talk. We are a serious security partner, and we have the muscle to help make peace happen.
But, of course, things are never that simple, are they? Both of these strategies, Malaysia's decision to stay home and Indonesia's to show up, were about to get caught in what you could call a great power squeeze. This intense pressure from a global superpower was about to create a huge diplomatic headache for the entire region.
And check out this timing, because it is absolutely critical. Just 2 weeks after this U.S.-led summit in Egypt, the U.S. president was scheduled to touch down in Kuala Lumpur for the big ASEAN Summit. And who was hosting? Malaysia, the very same country that had just publicly rejected the American peace plan.
I mean, can you imagine? This puts Malaysia in a ridiculously awkward spot. How do you roll out the red carpet and welcome the very leader whose major diplomatic project you just symbolically rejected? It puts the entire region's long-cherished principle of neutrality under a massive, intense spotlight.
And what this whole pressure cooker moment does is it rips the lid off a fundamental divide that already exists inside ASEAN. I mean, look at this chart. The bloc is not singing from the same hymn sheet on this issue, not even close. You've got a strong bloc that doesn't recognize Israel, an even bigger group that has full diplomatic ties, and then a few others just trying to walk a tightrope in the middle. This external pressure really threatens to crack that whole delicate balance. So, after all this maneuvering, what's the big takeaway? What's the bottom line here? What does this split between two super close neighbors actually tell us about the future of the region and, its place in the world?
This table really lays out the contrast, and it is stark. Both nations started from the same place, a shared principle of supporting Palestine. But wow, their strategies could not have been more different. Indonesia signals its power by offering peacekeepers. And Malaysia, it signals a totally different direction by applying to join BRICS, a completely non-Western bloc. Two very different visions for the future.
So, here's the really crucial point. The old idea of non-alignment, being this quiet, passive thing where you just stay on the sidelines, that's over. It's done. In today's world, it's an active, high-wire performance. Every single decision is this incredibly complex blend of intense domestic politics and powerful global pressures.
And all of this leaves us with one final and pretty challenging question. In a world full of giants, as these global powers demand that everyone pick a side, are smaller nations being forced into an impossible choice? Do you stand on your principles and risk getting left behind? Or do you engage to have influence and risk watering down those very same principles? That is the dilemma right there at the heart of diplomacy in the 21st century.